Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I was looking back through Dragon Ball Super manga chapter 77, and I was just noticing like the way all the Cerealians were drawn, like they are jacked. Like they are all very strong. Like they all have like perfectly defined muscles and like all this stuff. It's like and it's like, why is that significant? Well, I was just thinking of how basically the Cerealians and the Namex, like there wasn't a lot of them, right? It was a very small civilization on the planet, and the Heaters, if they had any kind of power, probably could have toppled them if they were so inclined to do so. If gas was really that strong, if the others could hold their own, it's like a team of five probably could you know take out that whole civilization. It's like, did they really need the Saiyans? I don't know how powerful they all were supposed to, how powerful all the Heaters were supposed to be at that point, but it's like you would think for such a small civilization, you would think they wouldn't really need to outsource that, or maybe they just don't want to get their hands dirty. But yeah, I was just thinking if they are, maybe it was that, wasn't that there was a, they didn't want to get their hands, maybe it wasn't really that they didn't want to get their hands dirty though. Maybe it was that the Cerealians are just a very strong race or whatever. And I was like, I had a theory way back when we still thought it was like Frieza that issued the order to wipe out the planet. I was like, well, what if the Cerealians were basically kind of like, mercenaries in a way, and how they were all just like basically contracts, like work for hire, like assassins or whatever. It makes sense going off of their skill set and snipers and all that good stuff. It's like, yeah, but they're probably were a very strong race, and they had the potential, as we've seen through Granola's Wish, to growing very powerful. And it was like, oh well, Frieza just took them out, so they didn't become a problem. You don't want a bunch of superpowered snipers running amok in your empire. They could definitely potentially kill you. So that made sense. But now finding out that the Heaters were actually the ones that got this whole ball rolling with the extinction of the Cerealians, or near extinction rather. I'm just like, it makes it all just very curious to me, because yeah, all the Cerealians are so powerful, and if they are, it's like, what were, like, where did they sit on the what am I saying, trying to say, the power hierarchy, for the universe. Were Cerealians, well, clearly they weren't comparable to the Saiyans. They not as powerful as them, but they definitely had some power. They definitely were somewhat of warriors. They weren't weak at all. They all could fly. They all could do ki blasts. Even the women, as you see with Granola's mom. And but yeah, there was a small civilization of them, and so they got toppled. But if had there been more, they could have easily. I think if they had like an army, yeah, I think the Cerealians might have beaten Bardock and the other Saiyans once they came down from the Great Ape side. It's like, just in numbers and skills, I think they could have toppled and made that more of a campaign versus just a one-day invasion where he's just, oh, we came through in the afternoon, killed everybody. Like, nah, the Cerealians were gonna make them earn that. I definitely believe that. So if they have shots that can take out the moon, they definitely could handle their own with the right numbers and battle them back. So I think that's ultimately why the Heaters didn't want to get involved. They feared the Cerealians' power, like how basically Frieza feared the Saiyans. And it's like, yeah, Alec, he plays like he's the tough guy, but he shot Granola's mom with a gun. It wasn't a ki blast. It was he used a device. It's like his personal power wasn't enough to deal with maybe probably just one Cerealian, even a female Cerealian warrior. He wasn't equipped to deal with that. So they got they outsourced it to Frieza and the Saiyans. Yeah. What is my point here? I guess I'm trying to think as I'm talking. I'm like, what was the point of this video? I guess I just found it interesting that all the Cerealians were just so powerful, yet they were easily defeated. And I guess that comes back to the fact that that there wasn't a lot of them. And I have a couple theories I'm still working on as to why that is, but yeah, I think what it means for the story, the fact that the Cerealians were, somewhat of a force, and the idea that the Cerealians could come back, maybe off of the strength of a one last wish by Granola or Manito. It's I think of a race with that kind of skill set and power being let loose into the series, into the Dragon Ball world universe rather, being set free into the story could really shake things up. And we've kind of just been hoping that Toyotaro and Toriyama would use all the world building through the Tournament of Power to really spice things up and make the story interesting. But maybe writing in universe, crossover universe stories is a bit more challenging for them than we anticipate. The fan manga seem to do it pretty easily, but maybe trying to make it make sense. Maybe trying to make it make sense is a bit more challenging than we thought. So this is another opportunity. Should the Cerealians come back and they are these powerful warriors, or just cunning, skilled assassins with their own good amount of strength, and we see the potential of power that they have. So it's like, hey, that could definitely mean something in the future. And if Granola, let's say on some random, he actually spawns say he fathers a child in these next 3 years that he has left to live, or something else happens and the Cerealian races continued in some way, that definitely could make for some interesting opposition in the future. I don't know though. I'm not sure how much this matters. I guess I just thought it was interesting that they were all so powerful for this race that was just depicted, so to speak, as weak. They definitely didn't seem weak. The Cerealians look capable of taking out all the humans on Earth if they felt like it. It's so, yeah. Feel free to leave your thoughts though in the comments on what you think of just how powerful the Cerealians were as a group, and their influence on the rest of the universe. Like, maybe Frieza did fear them, and maybe that's why it's like, hey, I'm not concerned about getting paid, the right amount of money from the heaters. It's like, hey, I want those heaters. I want the Cerealians gone too. They're just trouble waiting to happen. So, tell me what. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you think the Cerealians posed a threat to Frieza and the universe as a whole? Do you think they, with the right numbers, they could have defeated the Saiyans? With that sounds like a more interesting video than what I just did. Honestly, would the Cerealians have won with the right numbers? I guess I kind of did just do that. I'm rambling. I guess because I just didn't feel. I wasn't sure if this was a strong enough topic for a video, but I still just think it's interesting to think about and just theorize and stuff. But yeah, let me know what you think about the Cerealians and how that whole battle went down, and I'll catch you on the next one. All right.